So I wanted to talk about my meditation practice. Since I've been here in New Jersey, I've spent quite a bit of time studying and doing meditation. And strangely enough, this was always sort of part of the plan to like look for UFOs and study UFOs, and then also do meditation. I had decided on this before I left town in Montana, and that's been interesting given that in, I think it was early February or late January, Jake Barber had that kind of bombshell interview with Ross Coulthart claiming that, he used the term psionics for the first time, in which, there's this phenomenon where you get close to these alien craft and they seem to have some kind of conscious awareness. You can see he's visibly emotional when he's talking about this, that he has this kind of intense feminine connection to this craft that he's retrieving. Jake Barber is the helicopter pilot that comes and retrieves these craft. And he describes how this one time he got really emotional and it was coming from the craft that he was recovering. So these craft are alive. They have consciousness. That's part of the deal. So I don't know how, maybe I had heard that in the past, I had heard that in order to pilot a UFO, you would need some kind of special person to have this like mind craft interface. And I think maybe that's where I got the idea initially, but it certainly wasn't in the mainstream UFO community, this term psionics or being able to pilot craft, or it wasn't until Jake Barber's interview that that really came to light and people really started talking about it. So before that had even come out, I had signed up for a class in remote viewing. And for those who don't know what remote viewing is, it's kind of along these same lines of like psionics. They're mental powers essentially that we all have. And remote viewing is where it was developed in the military, the CIA Stargate program. I think there are a few other names as well, but essentially the remote viewer is given a target, which is just a random string of numbers, and then they write down the numbers, that's the coordinates, and then they meditate and they draw or write down what they feel is behind that target. And it's pretty surprising that this is a real thing. This works. You can look into it. It's really remarkable. Lou Elizondo even talks about being a remote viewer in the CIA in the very beginning of his book, Imminent. The military is still practicing this. This has been going on since, I think, the 70s, late 70s, during the Cold War. And so I took a class by Bertie Jarwowski. She is a very, very talented remote viewer, a very lovely person to take this class by. And, I took it through Zoom. It was an online course through Ubiquity University. And I thought I'd give it a shot. What Bertie says and what a lot of people say is that anyone can do remote viewing. This is a latent power we all have. We can tap into, I guess, some inner space to view any target throughout time or space. It's non-local. Consciousness is non-local. So it's all very interesting, right? So I took this class with Bertie, and it was all online. And since I'm on the road and traveling, she recommends really large format art paper and a bunch of colored pencils or crayons or whatever you feel comfortable with drawing wise. Since I'm on the road, I don't have that, but what I do have is a tablet. And so I spent that whole week of class, which was a 40-hour class, sort of going through her different techniques of remote viewing. And I've been practicing since then. And during the class, I felt like I actually did quite well. It was really spooky to draw something because when you're doing this, it doesn't feel especially as a new person, it doesn't feel like you're really doing anything. It feels like you're just making stuff up. But then you draw something, and then we had a class of, I think, like 70 people, or maybe it was more. In either case, it was really spooky that what I drew, other people also drew. And then, so the process is you're given the numbers, the coordinates, you draw or write down words that you are associating with these numbers, and then the target gets revealed to you as feedback. How well did you do? Did you hit the target? Did you draw exactly what the picture was? Did you have some kind of emotional reaction to, say, a nuclear bomb going off? Um, so, I mean, I have like all of these sort of drawings on my tablet here. These are all remote viewing sessions. And as I've gotten a little bit more familiar with this tablet and knowing how to actually use it, I start to use some color. But yeah, it's really interesting. I've done 42 of these so far, and during the class, I felt like I did quite well. The days following, I felt like I was doing really well, and then something sort of happened. Like it didn't really. It's not that something happened. It just I got worse at it. Um, yeah. So I'm going to continue this practice. I have several books I've been working through as well, and there's a lot of online resources for this type of stuff, remote viewing. And so yeah, that's been my meditation practice. So I wanted to put that out there.